I'm Steve Hardy from Big Calm Tiny Homesteads. I'm going to answer some of your awkward questions about tiny home communities. Awkward question number 3. How do you buy land for a tiny house community? Well, that's not that awkward. That's not a very difficult question. You buy land just like you would any other property, even if it's for yourself, with a couple caveats. So the main thing when you're looking for land, especially rural land, is that you want to find water. You want to have a reliable source of clean water. When we were looking around at different properties, mostly in BC and a little bit in Alberta, that was top of our list, is what are the water sources and how reliable are they? How many people are drawing on them? That's a standard question that anybody should be asking if they're getting an acreage. Is really important, especially if you're looking to expand out to have other people here. So we did that. A couple of the first things we did, I think even before we bought the property, was we engaged a water engineer and a wastewater engineer to walk the land with us and look at the water sources. And we did the due diligence beforehand. Very important. It's not just that you have a place to put a pad that somebody can roll a trailer up to. It's that you've got the resources to sustain that properly over the time ahead. Next big thing, obviously, and you hear this all the time in tiny house conversations, is that you need to look closely at the zoning for the area. So in our case, we're in an unzoned area, which is what actually spurred the thinking that maybe there's interest here in a permaculture guided tiny homestead community for remote workers or for people who want to be in a place like this. Zoning is very important, and it's quite backwards in a lot of areas. It's really held back the groundswell of interest in tiny houses, especially tiny houses on wheels. That's loosened a little bit over the pandemic, but it's still slow to adjust. Many places don't allow, if they allow it, maybe it's 1 or 2 units. Having a community, as long as you're doing things on the up and up as far as water and wastewater, then generally look for unzoned or favorably zoned areas. That also includes ALR, so there's agricultural land reserve areas that are reserved for agriculture. They want to grow things there because it's traditionally been a good growing spot. And so usually you can't put a lot of development in those spaces, or at least not easily. And so that'd be another area to avoid. And then probably the third thing as far as buying land is just make sure that you've got your arrangements set as far as financing and insurance. So those take a little bit of work because lenders and insurers, this is kind of unfamiliar territory for them, even though it's been around for decades and deals with certified buildings and deals with the same standards codes around water, wastewater, electric, and so on. It's still a bit of a mystery box for them. So you do really have to handhold some of the more institutional partners that you'd be working with. So that's the answer to how to buy land. It's really nothing too out of the normal.